should learn to celebrate good people. There are many of them. I want to handle an issue that is very, very close to my heart. And I decided to title it, "The Prisoner You Can Trust." Can we all say it together? The prisoner you can trust. And of course, my text is taken from Acts of Apostles, chapter 27, from verse 1 to 3. Prisoners are people you cannot trust. That's why they are followed and they are watched all the time by the warder. In some cases, prisoners are handcuffed, more especially when they are being taken out of the four walls of prison. Under the Roman Empire, every prisoner was meant to be held and watched with unusual vigilance. Peter was arrested in Jerusalem, and we are told that when he was locked up, they didn't just lock the iron door and perhaps the inner door, they also chained him to 2 soldiers. So that if magic happens and you, Peter, you manage to break the chains, you can't even break it. Or you struggle to leave, you have to drag these 2, or let me say, you manage to knock out the 2 soldiers. Not only will you knock them out, you will also have to drag them to get out of this place. All that was put in place to ensure that he was securely kept there. Concerning Paul and Silas, Acts 16:24b says, he put them in the inner cell and fastened their feet in the stocks. Stock is something like a plank. You put it one on top of another. But hole is bored between the 2. And you open it, you put your feet here, you close this one, you lock it. So your feet are securely locked. Verse 27, the jailer woke up, and when he saw the prison doors open, he drew his sword and was about to kill himself because he thought the prisoners had escaped. He concluded, these people have escaped. And under the Roman government, what will happen to you if a prisoner or prisoners escape from you? It will be worse than death. That was why he drew his sword and wanted to kill himself. And Paul shouted, do thyself no harm, for we are all here. Not only that you'll be tortured, after the torture, you'll be beheaded. So that prison warder, or whatever you call him, just wanted to escape all the torture and humiliation and everything. He wanted to kill himself instead of me to wait. And after punishing me, you behead me. Centurions commanded cohorts of soldiers or took staff roles, senior staff roles in their legion. Paul was a valued prisoner. His case, he referred. He said, look, I appeal to Caesar because Paul, though a Jew, had taken upon himself Roman citizenship. So you don't treat a Roman citizen anyhow. So he said, instead of dragging me about, I appeal to Caesar. So Paul was a very valued prisoner. And it wouldn't take any type of soldier to take him to Rome. Hence, the instruction or the command that somebody of a level of a centurion should be the person to take him to Rome. They boarded a ship from Adramytton, and verse 3 says, the next day we landed at Sidon, and Julius, that's the centurion, treated Paul kindly and gave him liberty to go to his friends and receive care. And Ivy says, it was that his friends there might provide for Paul's needs. His journey as a prisoner started from the temple because he reported and gave all the report of the good things God was doing through his ministry. And after he had talked and talked, they couldn't even wait for him to finish his report. They couldn't just wait. They just said, look, Paul, we thank God for everything that has happened. But the reports have been coming that you are preaching against the Jewish custom. Please listen to us. Take a special vow and go to the temple and begin to fulfill that right so that they will see that even yourself, you believe in the Jewish custom. Disarm them. Now, you can't be a man of authority without keeping yourself under authority. Paul knew that that was hypocrisy at the highest level. Because he had been saying, look, let's drop some of these things. It is Christ that matters. So he now went into the temple and was fulfilling this Jewish rite in the temple. When he was cited, a shout was given, and Paul was apprehended. And from there, arraignment started. From one governor to the other person. And when he saw the way it was going, he said, look, I appeal to Caesar. So, having been arrested right in the temple, I don't think he had change of clothes and such things. So he was a man that was so needy. Hence, the liberty the centurion gave to him. Hey, Paul, I now permit you to go into Sidon. You've said you have many friends here. Let them provide their needs. Come back so that the journey continued. Why did the centurion allow Paul to go into Sidon all by himself? Common sense tells me that Julius the centurion knew Paul very well. And I don't mean the type of knowing which stops with he's our church member. I'm rather saying that this is the type of knowing that one is convinced of what one can do and what the person cannot do. The word trust becomes very, very relevant here. The question Julius the centurion must have asked himself was, can I or can I not trust this guy? Quickly, he felt, look, I trust him. No matter the circumstance, this man will go all by himself and will return here so that we continue on our journey and he will continue to be a prisoner. This element called trust was exactly what moved Potiphar. And he handed over his household and his estate, his entire business outfit, to one Hebrew slave called Joseph. Manage it, run it. Listen to Genesis 39 verse 6. So he left in Joseph's care everything he had. With Joseph in charge, he did not concern himself with anything except the food he ate. He did not concern himself with anything except the food he ate. In other words, Potiphar never audited the business outfit or whatever Joseph was handling. If Joseph came back from the shop or whatever and said to Potiphar, "Today I made $9,500. Potiphar would say, "Good man, just keep it on the side stool there." And he goes. Potiphar knew. Joseph said it is $9,500. That's what it is. He's not even going to count it. This was also the type of trust that Abraham had in Eliezer of Damascus, his chief servant. He trusted him so much that he commissioned him and said, "Go to Padan Aram, make a choice of a wife, pay the bride price, and bring her here to be the wife of my son Isaac." How many of you can trust somebody to this point? Eliezer wasn't the type of servant that you turn into eunuch. When rich people or masters in the Bible days turned servants into eunuchs, it shows you are not trusted. If we allow you to retain your sexual power, one of these days you are going to sleep with one of the concubines of your master. So you are castrated to make sure that you wouldn't even go there at all. If you try, you're not going to succeed. We have a biblical account. Saul died, King Saul. His son Ishbosheth took over as the king. Abner was the commander of the army. And we are told Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, the king of Israel, discovered that the commander Abner was helping himself with one of his father's concubines. And that was an insult. It's like a servant sleeping with your own wife. And he asked him, "What do you mean by sleeping with my father's concubine?" And Abner asked him, "Am I a dog head belonging to Judah? Who has been protecting you? Your father's house, your father's friends, and all that belong to you. And today you are charging me with this thing. I'll hand you over to David, so that he may rule the whole of Israel according to what God told him." If Abner was a servant to this man, he ought to be castrated before he will even continue. Reason, we don't trust you. And to show now, can you see what he did? Abraham and Isaac trusted Eliezer so much so that he was just allowed to remain a full man. Eliezer could use the position and authority given to him to harm Isaac. How? To settle a score, or to show disapproval for his spoilage, because Isaac was a spoiled brat. A man at 40, you can't go to look for a wife, and your father has to send me to go marry for you. He didn't even accompany them to see what type of wife. You know, Eliezer could get there and decide to marry a woman whose face looked like the face of a he-goat. Yeah. Let me punish him since he can't get up. So that he brings this wife, everybody is shouting, "What is this one?" But they trusted him so much, he will never do this type of thing. And look at the dedication with which he pursued it. He got to Padan Aram public well. He stood there and he offered prayer to God. "Oh, the God of my master Abraham, Let it be that a young woman, I will ask, give me a drink of water, and she does. And not only giving me a drink of water, she says to me, I will also give water to your camel. Let it be the wife you have chosen for my master's son, Isaac. It takes the meanest class of human beings to abuse trust. How can my own son not trust me with his wife? Let's say my son is a soldier, an army officer posted to Somalia, and he can't confidently tell the wife, stay with my daddy. And he's afraid that before he comes back, daddy would have converted his wife. And how can I not trust my own son with my young wife if I happen to be a polygamist? Why must I be afraid that my own son will be unfaithful and will sexually exploit my young wife? But do you know that was exactly what Reuben did? Reuben abused trust. His father was old, perhaps no more sexually active. And we are told that Reuben slept with Bilhah. He abused trust in such a bad way. And Jacob heard of it. And it was painful, it was annoying, it was humiliating to this old man. Jacob struggled with it for years and years until he was about to die. Genesis 49, verses 3 and 4 tell us what he said. He started blessing his own children. Unfortunately, Reuben was the first, and he was the one that abused trust. So he started with a curse. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity, and the excellency of power. Unstable as water, you shall not excel because you went up to your father's bed. Then you defiled it. He went up to my couch. Often it takes insensitivity and selfishness to betray trust. We used to pass through a particular town, and a few times we had slept in that town when we were newly married. And it is one of these towns that is one road town. The road passes and you see houses in between. In those days, that was exactly what it was. And there was one beautiful lady who always sat on a wheelchair in front of her house. Pretty. And my wife happened to have known the history. She was married, and their marriage was a sweet one. Honey, honey, honey. And they were blessed with money. Very early days of the 70s. And they bought a car. Herself and her husband were driving to a village. And they had a very steepy hill to descend. The road not paved, erosion put gullies here and there, stones and everything. And as they were descending, something went amiss. The husband lost control. Somersaulting and somersaulting until they got to the bottom of the hill, by which time the spinal cord had been ripped apart. This woman was totally paralyzed. Since the parents are around, she was moved to the parents. so that they could assist in taking care of her. The husband would come daily, sometimes more than once. Honey, how are you doing? I love you. This thing continued. Gradually, it slowed down. It became once in 2 days. Then it went to once in 2 weeks. Gradually, it became once a month. This poor woman will complain and complain and complain. Oh, honey, I'm so busy. You should also understand my own situation. Finally, what was his story? He has married another wife. This breaks the heart. This destroys you from the very foundation of the fabric of your life. Lack of functional conscience draws people into betrayal of trust. And I have seen trust betrayed and betrayed in very, very sad ways. Imagine a man who lost his wife. And there are 3 grown-up children. And he decided, okay, I can cope with the 3. These 2 tender ones, 5 and 6 plus, let me send them to my sister-in-law, my wife's younger sister, who has no child. For many years she got married. No child. These children are growing up. Children you took at the age of 5 and 6 plus. Perhaps you were cleaning them up in the open. Now, they've gotten to the age of 10, 11 plus. And the man they call daddy now started. Groping, touching, and at times almost trying to rape. What do you call this? So there are many animals in this world who go about as human beings. Before betraying trust in such a way, think of the long-lasting effect. Can this thing go out of the minds of these children until the day they go to grave? You turn into mere feather in the sight of these children. And people say, must you? Because you like music and you dance the gong of the demons. The demons are playing music because you like music. You start dancing. Shouldn't you be choosy the type of tone you dance in your life? For many years now, we have lived with 2 grown-up orphans, 2 girls. At the time, the older one was 19. The younger one was in RPA, in the hostel. And here was something, I can't even remember where my wife was traveling to, and left the house. And it was just myself and this 19-year-old girl. See how big our house is. According to my custom, I normally get up 2 a.m., depending on what time I go to bed, 3 a.m., to spend at least 2 hours and go back to sleep. I got up that night and started studying in my room, and I needed to pick a book from my study. As soon as I got into the hallway, the passage, the smell of gas hit my nose. Wow. This girl or my housekeeper, somebody did not lock the cooker properly. If anybody struck a match, we will all perish. There will be mighty conflagration. I walked to her door, and something struck me. When you are knocking on this girl's door at 2 a.m., It has never happened before. Your wife is not in. What will come into the mind of this girl? I say it's true. Her heart will sink into the stomach. Daddy is knocking on my door by 2. What is happening? Even G.O. I wanted to go backwards. I said, well, she will discover what it is. And I started knocking. And she answered. I said, it's me. Open the door. I could see her trembling. And I said, Blessing, do you smell something? The gas is not locked. You people would have burnt us. Come on, go into the kitchen and know what to do with that situation. She went in there, was struggling with it. Both of us were there. Because the way this thing, you don't know who turned it. I'm not used to it. It was at the end, it occurred to me. Why not phone the housekeeper? I had to phone the housekeeper who was living at the other end. And he came in, and 2 of them were struggling with this thing, and I went to do my own thing. Only God knows the thoughts that came into her heart. But imagine if I happened to be one of these stupid men, and I woke her by 2 a.m., and I was being funny and silly. At a point, she will start going to, I like Katako Church. Mommy, most of my friends are there. That's where I want to go to. What's the problem? Because when I stand here preaching, she knows I'm not qualified to preach. And until she goes to grave, I wouldn't be worth anything.
We hope this message has inspired you. Thank you for watching. To order for this message, please call 080-3641-2443. God bless you.